Hello, my royal lovelies. Welcome back to the channel and of course, welcome to my home. Today, I had a completely different video planned and scheduled, which that will go live now in the next video release. But something has come up, which I've had a really quick glance at, but I want to react to it live now. So gone is the fancy editing. I just want to kind of get this video out. I want my reactions to be real and raw. The same as I'm sure yours are watching this video. So it is of course to do with the cheerleader and his imminent release of book that's coming out. So there has been another leak. Now, apparently this time, French magazine, I think it's Paris Match or Match in France, has got its mittens on a few extracts. Now, where these extracts have come from, I don't know. I mean, obviously, remember Harry's book itself had, well, the entire thing was leaked before release. And it's a tactic that worked for Harry's book. It actually drove sales of the book. So I'm kind of wondering, loosely, that perhaps a certain cheerleader has maybe authorised a few leaks here and there. But that is, of course, pure speculation. I'll leave you to decide that for yourself. But let's have a look at what has come out. So, the headline reads, Royals hit by fresh Sussex bombshells in the cheerleader's book. And of course, it calls him cheerleader-in-chief. Get your rah-rah skirts out, girls. Reveals Harry is ready to forget family row, but Meghan won't return to England because she refuses to dive back into the soap opera. I mean, I'm reeling just from the headline. I mean, there's so much. I can say so much about the headline without even reading the rest of it. I mean, for a start, that Harry is ready to forget. He should have done that from the start. I mean, I've said on this channel right from the get-go, they should have just moved on, kept a dignified silence. The only problem is they most definitely are not dignified and have not been dignified. Kept a well-maintained, dignified silence and then just got on. And I think they would have been in a far better position than where they are today. I said that in the previous video. And I think the telltale signs that I think Harry and Meghan might actually be realising this for themselves, that what they have done has not actually given their brand long-term longevity, because obviously, doing Oprah, there's only so many Oprah interviews you can do, there's only so many books you can do, although Harry did threaten with that there are another 400 pages of spare that he could publish. Well, I don't think that would be a very good idea. Short-term financial gain, maybe. People would, I'm sure, clamour to buy it. But in the long term, what he has done with the Oprah interview, the book, it hasn't been wise decisions in long-term marketing strategy because it's alienated a lot of people. And a lot of people are questioning his character because of what he has done previously to the Duke of Edinburgh and Her Late Majesty, when their health was failing and they were passing away, he was doing all this business. People's respect has gone, and that has hurt the brand. So it makes... I'm not surprised that he wants reconciliation. He's ready to forget. We saw them throwing out tidbits to the media about we would accept an invite for Christmas. Well, I'm sure you would. And this just kind of perpetuates that message. So, again, it has little paw prints all over it. And where do they lead to? Right. Then there's the fact that Meghan won't return to England. I mean, does anybody want her back? I mean, my goodness. She refuses to dive back into the soap opera. The only soap opera that has been going on has been the one that they have created. They are the soap opera. They are their own characters on their own stage. it just beggars belief. If any of this is true, it just beggars absolute belief. The audacity of it. So, the cheerleader lobbed another series of bombshells at the royal family, including the claim Meghan does not want to return to England because she refuses to dive back into the soap opera. Well, for a start, they haven't got anywhere to live. They would have to buy somewhere, or they would have to get another sort of grace and favour home from the royal family, from the king, or they would have to lease a property back off the crown. New extracts of Endgame, published in a French magazine, suggest Harry could be ready for reconciliation with his family. Well, we already knew that because of the whole Christmas shenanigans that were going on, with the prince reported to have said, "I'm ready to forget." Get an apology? Explanation? At this point, who cares, right? Now, this is very specific. So I know I'm going to have a number of people commenting in the comment section. I welcome all comments, I really do. And I know people are going to be saying, well, how do you know that he actually said that? These are very specific words. It's a very specific quote. So I would hazard a guess, and we all know what happened with the cheerleader's previous co-written work, if you like. They had corroboration from friends of Harry and Meghan. That all came out in the court case, so that is indisputable. So when Harry and Meghan said that, you know, they categorically denied any involvement in the previous book, they're denying it again now. The cheerleader is saying that, you know, there is no involvement from Harry and Meghan. But yet the same scenario, I imagine, is playing out right now. They've got previous history on this. So it makes perfect sense that it would happen again. So even if that is not a direct quote from Harry to the cheerleader, that quote could have been taken, maybe paraphrased, whatever, and passed on via other channels incredibly close to the Sussexes. Again, all those little paw prints. Where do they lead? But basically, this is what, again, it's what I said. Maybe Harry's been watching my videos where I said, you know, the best thing to do is just draw a line in the sand, do the classic, agree to disagree, and then move on and build a relationship. By the way, I am not anti-relationship building. What I'm anti is the royal family being taken advantage of by Harry and Meghan, just because Harry and Meghan have decided that their current strategy of, you know, hate, retribution, atonement, if you like, not them atoning, them wanting atonement, is not working. And it's not a long-term financial strategy that's going to work and play in their favour. So I don't want the royal family to be taken advantage of in that respect, you know, just on the flip of a coin that Harry and Meghan have just chosen to change strategy. That would not be fair on the royal family, especially after all what Harry and Meghan have put them through during that time. So no, I don't want them to be taken advantage of. If this comes from a genuine place of wanting to reconcile, you know, feeling ostracized from your family, if that comes from a genuine place, missing your country, missing your service, missing your duty, realizing that you have made a mistake. And of course, you know, Harry and Meghan are practically impossible at the moment, well, so far, in admitting that they have made mistakes themselves. So if this is true, I want it to be from a genuine place. Please let me know. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you'll write in and tell me, my lovelies, what you think. Do you think this is from a genuine place, or do you think it's part of their PR strategy from that new company that they're involved with? Anyway, so the cheerleader launches several new attacks on senior royals, including King Charles, who he claims ignored a meeting request from his son while he was in London earlier this year, and instead ordered an assistant to make the excuse that he was overworked. Old story. I'm bored already. He's just regurgitating old stories. I've heard this story before. Moving on. And in a dig against the Princess of Wales, not our beloved Kate, The cheerleader quotes a close friend of the Sussex. See what I mean? A close friend. So even in the book, he's saying it's a close friend. I'm sure they had authorization from from Harry and Meghan. It all comes out in the wash in the end, my loves. It all comes out. Saying she spent more time talking about Meghan than with Meghan, and that she now shudders and giggles nervously every time Meghan's name is mentioned. Well, for a start, I've said multiple times on this channel over the years, they didn't have to get on. they didn't have to be besties. They didn't have to be sort of, shopping together and all the rest of it. They just needed to be cordial and kind of get on for the sake of the wider monarchy and the country, which I think they were doing. I think they were sort of just getting on with it, but they were not bosom buddies. That, tell us something we don't know. And I think, often, I imagine it was the same. If this is true, and, I think both of them would have been talking about each other. So-and-so's doing this person's doing this. It's a classic kind of one-upmanship sort of thing. They didn't understand each other, basically. And I don't think they ever will do. They're two very different people from very different worlds. And they came to royal life in very, very, very different ways. And they've got a very different skill set and very different interests, none of which are particularly wrong. It's just that they are different. So I don't think they necessarily, were ever going to get on in that way. But the bit that's interesting, certainly Meghan must have given a lot for Catherine to talk about. But she now, who doesn't enjoy a little bit of a gossip, my loves? Shudders and giggles. Well, I wouldn't imagine she giggles. Shall I try and recreate a shudder and a giggle? See, the two don't really go together, which is why I'm kind of doubting this one, actually. So if you shudder, it's like, I can't imagine her doing that. I can't imagine her doing that. I can imagine her going, Meghan, that kind of thing, but not the giggle. I'm not really sensing the giggle. And also, Catherine's a very strong character, so giggling nervously seems a little bit of a far-fetched stretch, if you ask me. So, the book is out on Tuesday. Let me know if you'll be partaking. Threatens to reopen old wounds. Well, I don't think it's threatening to. I think it will. It's just digging up old ground. In the aftermath of Megxit, it will brand Charles unpopular. Well, he's not unpopular, because if he had have been unpopular, there would have been, a backlash. First of all, with him acceding the throne. Second of all, there would have been a backlash against Camilla being known as, being queen for a start, of which there was not. So, and there certainly hasn't been any rise in anti-monarchy sentiments. So I wouldn't say that he's unpopular at all. William's power hungry. Well, I wouldn't exactly say he's power hungry. What has he displayed? What behaviour has he displayed that shows that he's power hungry? And say Harry was betrayed by his own family. Well, I would spin it on its head and say that Harry betrayed his family. Hello, Beau. Have you come to listen to the absolute drivel that I'm reading and I'm having to tell these poor people about? Yes. Well, why don't you sit nicely and Daddy will continue. So no, I think it's Harry that's, exploited his family, to be quite honest, and betrayed them, most definitely. What he did. Someone asked me the other day in a comment, what was the moment when you turned on Harry and Meghan? Well, the answer simply is I haven't turned on them. My reaction at any point in time about any of the royals, not just Harry and Meghan, is based on what they are saying, what they are doing, their actions at that given time. There was a time when, I was defending Harry and Meghan to a certain extent against press stories that, were not necessarily corroborated. And, I do like stories to kind of be corroborated. But the thing was, Bo's meowing at me. I'm sure you can hear him. The thing was that what Harry and Meghan did during the Oprah interview and Spare was actually reveal that the majority of what the press were saying actually had some basis in truth. So that obviously changed my opinion. So they kind of scored a bit of an own goal, if you like, themselves. They're full of scoring own goals, literally harpooning themselves. It's best just to keep silent, my loves. Anyway, but that wasn't the turning point. The turning point wasn't even for me that they decided to leave the royal family. I don't think anybody should be beholden to doing a job or a role that they don't want to do. I'm pro-choice, and Harry and Meghan had a choice. Now the fact is they have to live with their choices, which I think they are doing now. Well, they're having to do. They don't like the repercussions from their choices, but they're having to live with them. But that wasn't the thing that really sort of, I suppose, changed my mind about Harry and Meghan. The thing that changed my mind was what they did to the Duke of Edinburgh, who was passing away, and the Queen with Spare, and of course the Oprah interview with the Duke. That book was supposed to go out during the late Queen's life. And can you imagine putting your own grandmother through those sorts of scandals when they're at the end of their life? To me, that was a major, major no-no. It was inexcusable. For me personally, that was like, just no. Plus all the things. What they are claiming that the royal family are doing to them, they are doing themselves. So it's just complete hypocrisy. Anyway, Buckingham Palace told the publication it was not commenting on the latest extracts published by Paris Match, or good on them, nor claims that Mr. Scobie made an accompanying interview with the publication. They've also contacted Archewell for comment, and I don't think they've commented yet. So the latest extracts paint a dire picture of relations between Prince Harry and his family. Well, we already know that they're at, an all-time low. In an interview, the Duke of Sussex previously held out hopes that he may one day come round, that they may come round one day to his view, but now he's given up on that hope. Well, I don't think, from Harry's perspective, he doesn't need to give up on it. He just needs to back up kind of what he's saying with actions. And now that trust has gone, it's going to take a long time to build up that trust again from both sides. So, which is why I think the strategy of actually drawing a line in the sand and then saying, look, let's agree to disagree, as long as it's built on genuine foundations, and that's the key. It has to be built on genuine foundations and genuine want for reconciliation, not just, it's going to be good for our brand and that we're going to, leech off our royal connections for the next 5 years or however long it might be. It needs to be genuine, and then they can slowly start to rebuild that trust. But unless it's got those solid foundations, it's just absolutely not going to work out in that way. So I don't think there are... Oh, yes. Let's have a look at this. The prince was reported to have voiced concerns over security and the reputation his family could receive from the public. Well, that's ongoing with the security. Harry feels it's unsafe to be in the UK. I'd say what a load of complete piffle. I think it's perfectly safe for him. He also claimed that Meghan didn't attend the coronation because she refused to drive back into the soap opera of the court. So in other words, saying that all the claims that sort of came out about, it being because of Archie's birthday, blah, blah, blah. Now it seems that she didn't want the attention. Well, I would flip that again and say that by staying away, in a way, she kind of, perhaps got even more attention without the hassle of actually being there. Also, I think by that point, with the previous experiences they'd had at royal kind of family events, set-piece events, whilst being stepped back members of the family. They were, hidden behind candles and hidden behind hats and pillars and all the rest of it. They knew that it didn't actually look good for brand Sussex to be seen out on a limb within the institution of monarchy. So what they're trying to do now, in my opinion, is kind of wheedle their way back in so that they are seen at the heart of the royal family, while still being able to freely do whatever deal and sell whatever they want. But it is curious and it's dangerous for the royal family, because whatever they say or, whatever they share with Harry and Meghan, it could find its way coming out of the cheerleader's mouthpiece and pom-poms and rah-rah skirt flailing around that's going on. So the royal family has got to be careful, and I would advise and I would warn that they really think about this and really take the time to check that what Harry is saying, it does come from a genuine place. I should point out again that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have attempted to distance themselves from this book. So they are denying any involvement. Again, let me know in the comment section exactly what you think. So again, let me know your thoughts and comments on this latest book. Will you be buying it? And then obviously, finding out what was in it. Do you think that there was a level of corroboration from Harry and Meghan, or their friends, associates, work colleagues, or whoever? This is to sum up and summarise, I think this is a desperate attempt at getting back into the royal fold, having your cake and eating it. They are trying to kind of rescind, if you like, on that so-called Sandringham agreement. I think they want use of the HRH back. I think, they want to be able to put the HRH stamp, the royal crest on, every endorsement deal that they have going and doing, and anything that they buy in to be able to put out as their own kind of work. Bearing in mind, Harry and Meghan, I said before, they have no creativity when it comes to producing. They are not producers, they just basically put their name to things. And that's what Netflix is coming to realise, that without Netflix input, i.e., buying the rights to a book to turn into a TV series or whatever it's going to be turned into, that's not Harry and Meghan's work. That's just, money buying something in. They're not very creative. The Bench was almost a copy of another very similar book about a bench that had been previously released. The Invictus Games was not, actually Harry's idea. It was taken from the Warrior Games in the US. So, what they have done is not necessarily very creative, and not the amount of work. Take, for example, the Spotify podcast. Finally, after 2 or 3 years, they finally got a series after heavy prompting from Spotify, and probably a lot of help with the production as well. They finally got a series out that didn't actually do too badly, but because they got such a bad reputation within the company wanted to part ways, because it knew that however much they paid them, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth the hassle. And Netflix, I feel, is going the same way. So that brings me back to why I think Harry and Meghan want in to the royal fold. They want to be able to have those connections. Perhaps they have their sights laid on endorsement deals instead, especially when you're seen wearing certain items of clothes on the royal balcony or at royal events, whatever it might be. It does wonders for a brand. Brilliant marketing. And I think they want a slice of that pie, a slice of that cake, and they want to eat it. Well, be warned, royal family, because whatever you say or do could end up on the covers of newspapers or in the pages of cheerleaders' books. Anyway, I'm going to go now. Thank you for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, then please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media. And of course, do hit that bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me, mwah, to you all, and goodbye.